Well, it's a good thing this is just coming from my heart because I didn't write anything down. It's a good thing. Okay. So it is my honor to introduce Diana Wentworth, who is an extraordinary human being and has been a friend for a very, very long time. Diana, as we know, is a New York Times bestselling author. She's written many books and cookbooks, and she has been a part of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. She also has founded with her late husband, Paul, the Inside Edge Enterprise, which has truly launched the careers of many thought leaders who have really contributed to our understanding of what it means to be a whole and spiritual human being. But I think more significantly for me is the fact that Diana Wentworth is a soulful human being. She is an elegant human being, inside and out. And when Diana seeks life and journey and on her path, and as she experiences life, she has the ability to both speak about it in words and in writing that illuminates the path for the rest of us. She is a sojourner. She is a pace setter. And she is a person now committed to helping us understand what it means to live our last chapter, our encore chapter, with passion and vision and commitment and joy. And her latest exploration, as we know, has to do with beauty, and that's what she's going to be talking to us about today. But I think for all of us who know Diana, have experienced Diana, have felt Diana, we know that she is a gift. She is a gift to everyone that she meets, to those of us who know her personally, and to our understanding of what it means to live a truly enlightened, present, generous, and beautiful life. So, Diana, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce you.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm deeply grateful. Thank you, Michelle, so much for your eloquence and your appreciation. Let's begin our discussion on beauty today with a couple of questions from my very favorite poet, I think, Mary Oliver, a woman who really exemplified living her life in beauty and appreciating beauty and finding words to share it with all of us. She lived in Cape Cod, and every day she would go walking in the woods and she would just look and see and share with us her passion for beauty. And she asked the most fabulous questions in her poetry sometimes. I call them quantum questions, really, because they spark something deep and something revealing. So her questions that I'm sharing today are, and have you finally figured out what beauty is for? And has it changed your life? So for me, the answer is yes and yes. Beauty is here just to wake us up. And it's waking me up at this time right now as I'm just curating my stuff and downsizing so that I can move into living much more simply. And I feel that doors are just being opened for me everywhere I go because I'm choosing this subject right now. It's opening for me to build a new playground. I want to invite everyone to start conversations about beauty wherever they go, because it's really just, I think it's the most important subject. And I'm not just talking about physical beauty and not just beauty of nature, not just beauty of artworks. Beauty is about everything that is uplifting. It's about our relationships and who we hang out with and how we take care of the earth. And it's about poetry and just the very act of sparking joy in other people. And it's about our creativity, our composing, our writing, and our volunteerism. Helping out at schools, reading to children. Beauty is about all the goodness that the world continues to offer us even though we've done little to show our gratitude and preserve our natural resources. Lately, we've been turning our backs on beauty because it seems like we'd rather fight with each other about who's wrong and who's right. Don't you love Rumi's words? He said, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. So let's meet right now there and talk about beauty. I hope that to many, many people, that field can be beauty. It's tenderness, compassion, sparking joy, creating art and music and poetry and meals together, creating gatherings. The other day I asked a young woman, well, I can't say she's really a young woman. I've known her for so many years. She must be 60 now. She's not so young anymore, but she's still 20 years younger than I am. I asked her what beauty is to her, and this look came over her face, and she spoke about volunteering and working with teams of other people to pick up and take care of sections of the national forest. Just feeling the energy of all the diverse people there. There were motorcycle guys and families, and everybody was working together to clear this section of forest that had been defiled by ignorance, really. And she said that that was just the most beautiful thing. So beauty is many things, and to each of us, it's different things and many things at the same time. The beauty in my own work has been in creating playgrounds. You know, I spent a really rough year when I was 8 in boarding school, and there were very few other boarders, and certainly none my age. And I would wander the playground and just wish for companionship. So I just like to create playgrounds, I guess. And I did it originally by teaching cooking, especially with creating menus that you could prepare and invite people over to your home and create connection around the table. And then after 15 years, the Inside Edge, the idea for the Inside Edge came to Paul and me, and it just completed its final year after 38 years of hosting more than 1,500 speakers on life-enhancing subjects. So what is life enhancing? Isn't it beauty in all of its facets? I'm committing the rest of my life to start a rallying cry in whatever way I can to find support for people discussing beauty. I want to create a playground where people are talking about beauty and how it might be cultivated and cultured and preserved and expressed in brand new ways. Honestly, I don't know how many years I have left. I get to go to Mexico and speak about beauty as homecoming pretty soon. I was invited to speak about what the heart wants. It's for the opening of the One Heart Festival, which happens 3 days before the Day of the Dead in San Miguel de Allende. So I'm strong enough to make this trip. I'm strong enough now to be curating all my stuff and downsizing and figuring out how I want to spend the rest of my years. And this is what has come to me. I want to be an advocate, an ambassadress for beauty. I want you to join me in whatever works for you. You might enjoy just having a conversation with one other person about what role beauty has played in your life. Or you might want to introduce this topic at a meeting that you already regularly attend. You might enjoy inviting others to a round table. I love round tables. Years ago, I worked for quite a while with 2 other women on starting something called Keys to the Queendom. Sri Aurobindo, the great sage, said, if there's to be a future, it will wear a crown of feminine design. And in those days, I was thinking, what if women start queendoms in their own environments in which women get together and talk about ways to beautify the world? How might you most efficiently beautify the world? You can tell me. I'm asking to hear from you ideas that spark you as far as taking action as what beauty's for. Beauty is here to wake us up, but how can we be for beauty? I think that's the question I'd love to propose to you today. And you'll have we'll have time for some of you to share what your ideas are here. Following my heart attack almost exactly 14 years ago today, I began walking the hills around our home in Corona del Mar because I love to multitask. I would clutch a poem in my hand to memorize, a poem that I could learn by heart. And I was drawn by mystical poetry, and very especially the poems of Mary Oliver, who lived in Cape Cod. One of her poems ends in the words, "Oh Lord, how shining and festive are your gifts to us, if we would only look and see." The whole poem goes like this. This morning at waterside, a sparrow flew to a water rock and landed by error on the back of an eider duck. Lightly it fluttered off, amused. The duck, too, was not provoked, but you might say, was laughing. This afternoon, a gull sailing over our house was casually scratching its stomach of white feathers with one pink foot as it flew. Oh Lord, how shining and festive is your gift to us if we only look and see. There's another of Oliver's poignant poems that strikes me especially as a woman of advanced age. I've passed being of a certain age. And that is, are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still not half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. So what I want to do right now is open the floor to questions or sharings. You might want to share something, some experience, some encounter that you've had with beauty that shook you awake, or you might have ideas for opening conversations about this with other people. This is going to be my dearest passion, because this is the time when, just in our ignorance, we're not paying attention. And beauty to me is the thing that can save the world. So the floor is open to whoever would like to share right now. Mary Kelly.
Thank you. I'm just thinking that one of the most beautiful things that has happened to me recently has been remembering the beauty of young people, the beauty of youth. I have a wonderful nephew who's 23, and I have been his Aunt Mimi all his life. And he travels with me. He invites me to travel with him. We have a wonderful friendship. We talk and talk and talk and talk. And one day I was feeling kind of guilty for being older than him and not leaving the planet in a better state. So I apologized to him. I said, I'm really sorry that my generation hasn't done more to keep this planet beautiful for your generation. And he looked at me and he said, excuse me. He said, that's okay, Aunt Mimi. Don't worry. We'll fix it. It just touched me so much. That optimism, that youth, that energy, that willingness to take on whatever problem and fix it, because they're kids. They're kids. They're full of energy. They're full of optimism. And I just love that beauty, the beauty of youth.
Thank you. Thank you. That's deeply touching. I see Whitney and then Martha.
Yes. My new endeavor is promoting an orchestra. There are many orchestras in communities because of the beauty of music and the beauty of bringing people together to listen is profound and important. And I love the idea of discovery, that people can discover new sounds and see their magnificence and their beauty. And so I asked my phone this morning, because I'm kind of multitasking, I asked AI to to write an article about how we can use AI to promote the importance of orchestras in community. And of course, like that, it gives me 10 points of wonderful ideas. And I'm very excited about it. That's really all I have.
Yes, we talked about music last time. We talked about beauty and its transformative effect on us. And I have it playing all day long. Martha?
Yesterday, I had an experience that I literally described as beautiful. I used to have a vintage store, which my partner and I closed like 10 years ago. And I got a call out of the blue from one of our regular customers. She used to come in all the time. And that's one of the main things I miss about my shop was I loved my customers. And my partner used to tease me because we'd sit in a corner on a couch and I'd sit and talk all day instead of getting my work done, so I just love them. And so one of them called out of the blue and she said, I ran across your business card and I know you don't have your shop anymore, but I'm trying to downsize. And this is kind of the other side of the coin from what some of you were talking about. But I love those kinds of meaningful, heirlooms and those articles. And I said, well, yeah, we don't have our shop and I really don't sell things for people. And she goes, I'll pay you for your time. And I said, no, I just want to come over. So I went to her apartment, and when I walked in, it was just adorable. I mean, it was beautiful in more ways than one. And I told her, I feel like I feel home. We have the same kind of sense of style. And she has all of her things out that remind her of her mother and her grandmother and her daughter. And she has little outfits hanging on, she just little purses from the 20s. And I took a couple lamps off her hands, helped her a little bit, but mostly she told stories. And so I like to video people talking about their heirlooms. So just for like, a 2-minute thing. And then I send them the video and then they have it and their progeny has it. And so I did that for her. And I heard a lot of really just fascinating stories about the meaning behind these articles. And so it was just a mutual blessing. And it was just a beautiful experience all the way around. And I didn't know why I was going. I didn't know why she called, but I think I know now.
Oh, thank you so much for reminding me about vintage things. I have a passion for letters. And I sent a letter that I bought from Helen Keller to most of you recently that it was so deeply meaningful and poignant. And I've collected stamps and letters and things like that. And one day I was in an antique shop and I found a shoebox. In fact, here it is, this giant shoebox, and it was full of letters. And here's an envelope. And this woman was a very famous artist, actually. And these are all her love letters to her husband. And here's even a picture that she drew of herself missing her beloved. And it reminded me of one other story I have to tell you, because Paul and I were in Russia in 1985, and that's what led to the opening of the Inside Edge. And later, Ted and I visited St. Petersburg. It used to be Leningrad, and it was very different. Everybody was all in colors. And when we were there, everybody was in gray and standing in food lines. And we came out of the Hermitage, and I was feeling quite poignant because I'd been there with Paul and had so many beautiful memories. And as we were coming out, there was a man across the street who started waving and yelling, and he said, hey. And he said, hey, lady. And I thought, oh, who's he looking at? And I looked around. And I could see then that he was coming up to me, and Ted almost stepped in front of me because he didn't know what this guy was all about. And he said, this is for you. This is for you. And here's a book that he handmade that is full of all these amazing stamps that are just placed in little, I mean, they're all movable. I mean, this is such a work of art. I couldn't even believe it. And everybody around me was saying, do you have another one, or can I get one? And I asked him how much it was, and he said $40. How amazing is this, that this, this just showed up. I mean, it was just a magical moment in my life. So thank you. The vintage stamps and letters mean the world to me. Thank you for reminding me. And Patricia, you've had your hand up for a long time, so let me call on you.
That's okay. I love stamps too. My dad's collection. Yeah, like Mary, I really feel that our generation did a number on the planet. So I'm going often to clean the beach with an organization called Surf Rider. So last Saturday I went, and the beauty not only of the environment, we're at the beach looking at the ocean, but the sense of community with all these strangers that showed up, people of different ages. It was beautiful to see children picking up trash and putting them in their bags. That sense of community, I felt there was so much beauty in it.
Mm.
So here we're cleaning up the beach, beautifying the beach, but still I carry that beautiful feeling of that connection. So
Thank you, Patricia. And I'm going to call on Steed, who is a precious soul sister and a divine artist. We've known each other for many years, and she's all about beauty. So share with us, Steed.
Thank you, Diana. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I often start thinking about flow, the experience of flow that artists of all medium, whether you're a writer, a musician, painter, there's this space we get into of, it doesn't matter, it can happen in the kitchen, but there's these moments where kind of like time stops, and there's a sense of wholeness and oneness. And I've been thinking about beauty in terms of moments of beauty are actually also that. And just everything that's already been described, there are these moments that stand out, and something that really touched me so far this morning is noticing and letting things be meaningful, letting them have value, and how that actually connects us. It connects us to a thing, to a story, to other people, to a heritage, to a culture, to whatever we love. And I'm thinking a lot about kids and children these days. And anyway, there's just like, it's like this, not even a weaving, but like this net, like Indra's net in a way, where all of these pieces, and each one of us is paying attention and bringing it alive, lighting it up, is really, really important now. And kind of an overarching thing I'm thinking is, if someone's when I'm feeling isolated or alone, and I think of when I reach out to friends or kids who are struggling, it's always about bringing a connection, a feeling of being connected with something. And that can come through noticing, like, yeah, that sky really is beautiful, or look at that bird, or it can be anything. So beauty to me, in the big picture, I'm thinking it's one of those, it's like a doorway to heaven. It's like a double door, jeweled with everything. And when we connect, in however we connect to it, it's like it's that doorway into heaven on earth. So I so appreciate you bringing the focus to this. I think it's tremendously healing across everything. everything. 'Cause to me, it's beauty is the opposite of againstness and separation. So those are just some of the thoughts that are just everything is like a symphony right now that's not quite, it's in harmony, but it's just like bigger than anything I've ever really heard before. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That
I
was
love you, Diana. Thank you.
so much. Michelle.
Oh, that is such a meaningful conversation, Diana. I'm convinced also that beauty heals. And that is why I carry over 50 pounds of luggage, rugs and centerpieces and fabrics to decorate every workshop space that I lead all over the world. Because I think when people walk into a room, it feels inviting and welcoming and makes them feel important. But I was reflecting on an experience I had when my nephew's wife went through 7 rounds of chemo and a bone marrow transplant, struggled with cancer for 20 months before she passed at age 40, leaving 2 little ones behind. And one day I was in the hospital because I would take her breakfast in the morning, even when she couldn't eat it, just so she would know the love was there in the food. And she started crying. She said, "Aunt Michelle, I hate this room. I hate this room." I said, "What do you want it to look like if you had your druthers?" And she said, "Oh, I'd like to be in a beautiful spa looking on the beach," she said. Well, she went away for 4 hours of testing and I went shopping. And when she got back, I had transformed her room in the hospital. I had a quilted coverlet on her bed that was in the color of the sea. I had flowers, silk flowers, because she couldn't do real ones, and a beautiful bouquet, a beautiful glass lamp, crystal lamp next to her bed, and a beautiful piece of blown glass that looked like a wave inside. And she loved shabby chic, so I found a beautiful wooden sign that in shabby chic, a piece of wood that said, "Love is the language spoken here." And when she walked back into the room, she started sobbing. And every time she went in the hospital, we redecorated it. My nephew Evan said, "Aunt Michelle, this is a lot of work. We've got 2 carts here and 4 garbage bags full of stuff." I said, "Sweetheart, if it makes your wife feel a little bit better, even for a moment, it is worth the effort." And that's what we did to carry her through that difficult time. Beauty heals.
It does. And your caring and your compassion and support must have meant the world to her.
Yeah, it did to me too. Yeah.
So Paul and Bonnie.
Years ago, we had a friend bring her mother over to our little cottage in our garden, and I forget what we were talking about, but she wasn't interested, and she kept pointing to the flowers. Pointing to the beauty that was right in front of us. And that's just the moment that I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll just step in for a second. Wasn't even thinking about that, but she had a stroke or something where she couldn't talk.
Right.
And so that was why it was just so amazing how that was her communication, and it was so beautiful. And yeah, thanks for the reminder.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you. Melanie.
Well, I was inspired by everything that you've said this week and the week before. And what really hit me was that one of the things that different gurus in my life have emphasized is that every environment has its own energy. And I was thinking about when you're talking about beauty, and I was thinking about living in Hawaii and how it's just so present all the time. I mean, it appeals to me. You open a door and the feeling of the air in your lungs and the color of green or the color of blue or the color of the mountain. And Hawaii is particularly that way for me. I have a lot of fondness for it. And I think anyone who has ever visited there, but it's not just the colors. There's also the color of the skin of the people and the sound of their language. And everything in nature has a harmony to its environment. And I think, you know, that as you were speaking this morning, that's what I just kept coming back. You were talking about St. Petersburg, and I've been there also. And the people, you know, everything that was born and raised and grows and thrives in an environment is, you know, is part of the beauty and the development of that environment, the sound of the language, it's just it's awe-inspiring how nature has this harmony on our planet throughout everything, throughout every single thing. Anyway, I'm overwhelmed by that feeling of grandeur and all of that.
Travel is so wonderful, isn't it? That it really wakes us up. And I see my precious friend Afton has her hand up.
Thank you, Michelle. Of course, again, this is perfect, wonderful subject. First, I want to say that Michelle has inspired me. What if we had a group of people that went into people's rooms, especially those with long-term in the hospitals, and we created beauty in their rooms, even people we didn't know. You go into rooms and here are people who need it most of all, and often they're just sadly so sterile. So that, Michelle, that just sort of came to my mind. And then a couple of things that I'd like to share is going walking or hiking with a 3 or 4-year-old child as they pick up every little thing and indulge in awe and wonder at it is an eye-opener. Things we just walk by and take for granted well, I invite you all to do it. It's quite an experience. And another thing is I love to go in thrift stores and look for the treasures of beauty, and it's hunt in finding beauty in the thrift stores. So those are just a few things.
I love how you beautify. You have so many beautiful things around you, Afton. It's such a joy. Let's do Thomas and then Nita.
Thank you. I have a couple of associations to this. One is one of my all-time favorite books is Karen Kingston's Clearing Your Clutter with Feng Shui. And in that, she revealed that she lives in London for 6 months out of the year. And then she lives in Bali for 6 months out of the year. And she goes to Bali because it is the cultural norm to spend the predominant amount of time creating beauty. And the ethic there is we create beauty because that is what creates harmony. And that's what keeps, or no, keeps. It reflects the balance of nature that nature is expressing. And so I was excited to learn that at the essence of feng shui is this idea of beauty expressed as harmony and expressed as balance. And of course, we get the Tao and yin yang, and the balance fits in there. So that's one association to this, which has me always wanted to go to Bali, and that's on my bucket list. The other is in studying astrology and thinking about learning about the premise or the principles of Venus and Libra, which are similarly oriented. It's beauty is and harmony are fused. You can't have one without the other. You kind of get both. And it's the also the feminine aspect. So it helped me understand that the feminine in me is my love of beauty and harmony. And that helped me embrace the feminine as opposed to thinking of it as something other than me. Was because I don't find it that difficult to appreciate beauty. And I'm wired to seek harmony. So with Mars and Libra. So those are two associations I have to this
Thank
topic.
you. Thank you. Let's go with Nita, and then I have a few closing words because I know that I will definitely run out of time here. So
Okay.
Nita.
I'll be real quick. In going through all my stuff, I came across a package that my mother had mailed to me, and I was always drawn to her handwriting. And so I had this package, and I thought, I'm going to frame that. And then when I turned it over, there was a little envelope here, and I'm going to try to get really close and see if you can see it. My
Hey.
dad stepped up when I was 3 years old. He stepped into my life, my stepfather, and he had a 6th grade education. He rarely spoke of anything. He was very quiet and very good man. And when I read it, I burst into tears at the beauty. It says, "From your dad, Kay, look inside." And he was referring to something inside the envelope. But when I saw it, I was so just overwhelmed with the sentiment of this man simply saying, "Look inside." And I'm going to frame it and hang it over my desk. That's all. And I love beauty. That's why I have so much stuff. I've bought everything that I ever saw that was beautiful. It's a lot of beautiful stuff.
It's hard to let go of stuff, isn't it, when it is so beautiful? So I just want to close with a few thoughts. My days usually begin at 4:30 or so. And I have neuropathy and it wakes me up. So I take great advantage of those early morning hours. And so the first thing is you probably know, I've told you this before, but I think it's really important to begin your day in a really upbeat way. So I smile first thing because that releases a whole lot of endorphins. And then I ask a profound question, what I call a quantum question, and just await the answers. For a while, I was asking, where can the most joy be found today? And I would get certain downloads from that. I would just intuit all these downloads. And, but lately I've been saying, how can I most creatively and effectively beautify this world today? And then I get back into bed and I listen to an app. It's called Nucalm, Nucalm. It's the only patented brain science. And it allows me to move into any brain state that I wish. So this app is my most powerful creative tool, and I can't help but share it with people. Tony Robbins has been telling people about it for years as an unpaid spokesperson. He insists that everybody who works with him at a very high level be using it. And he even has some tracks on there that have you become ignited and all fired up about things and committed, and even has one on gratitude in which he uses the F word quite a lot. But the thing is that you can program yourself for sleep, or you can program yourself for energy. But the most important thing is it's used by the military all over the world in order to reduce stress. And so I use their rescue track because it's really ideal. And during that time when I'm listening, I ask these quantum questions and I just listen, and it feels like I'm just getting these very direct downloads. In fact, this whole beauty subject came to me that way. And so all sorts, my next stepping stones in life just seem to appear. So if you want to try it, take advantage of this special offer from me. I talked to the president and the marketing director of Nucalm, and I talked them into letting me be able to offer a 15% discount to people on their first order. So you can try it out for a month for only $29.95, less 15%. So if you want to reach out to me, I put my website in the chat and the website for reaching Newcom, and just put in the code Diana. So I just want to end, I'm going to end with the poem that the questions came from, that we started out with. I really have a request. If you have ideas for how I might best promote beauty as a subject for people to be discussing all over the world, I'd love for you to reach out to me. You can make an appointment on my website to share with me your ideas. And I'd love to hear from you about that. So here is the poem that started this whole morning, and this is called Swan, and it's by Mary Oliver. Did you too see it drifting all night on the Black River? Did you see it in the morning rising into the silvery air, an armful of white blossoms? A perfect commotion of silk and linen as it leaned into the bondage of its wings? A snowback, a bank of lilies biting into the air with its black beak? Did you hear it flirting and whistling a shrill dark music like the rain pelting the trees like a waterfall knifing down the black ledges? And did you see it finally just under the clouds, a white cross streaming across the sky, its feet like black leaves, its wings like the stretching light of the river? And did you feel it in your heart, how it pertained to everything? And have you too finally figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? Thank you.